I'm Jaclyn Johnson.
And I'm Marina Middleton.
And this is WorkParty, a podcast that's part work and part party. WorkParty celebrates a new generation of women who are redefining the meaning of work on their own terms and having fun while doing it.
In this podcast, we are diving into all the areas of being a working woman: mind, body, and business. No topic is off limit.
Real talk and hot takes. Think of us as your internet work wives. This is WorkParty,
the podcast.
Wait, where's the champagne?
Welcome to this very special episode of WorkParty. We're live in Austin, and we are celebrating 1 year anniversary of Marina Middleton as CEO, as CEO of Create and Cultivate. Welcome.
Isn't it crazy? 1 year is crazy.
I think 1 month in, you're like, it feels like it's been 10 years.
Truly. Matt was like, do you feel like it's been? I'm like, every day, every second. I felt every second of it the whole time. I would never trade it for the world, but yeah, I've definitely felt it.
Okay, so biggest surprise about being a CEO?
This is going to be the dumbest.
Can't wait.
The dumbest surprise. It is so hard.
Surprise!
No,
surprise! Surprise!
I know it sounds like it's a surprise.
Here's what I'll say: were you warned about how hard it was by yours truly?
Yeah, but you warned me about you warned me about different things. You were like, "Oh, it's a lot," but it's a lot. Like it is. My brain doesn't turn off, and I think also it's like. It's different because we have so much like skin in the game and we want this so badly. It's not like
you're not just a CEO, you're an owner of a business.
Like
so which you were before, but it's different now.
It's different.
Stakes are high.
So high.
So talk to me about the differences you felt from going from solopreneur, where you were running your own company, it's like pre-blueprint, all that, to now CEO, which is very different.
Yeah, I think that like a lot of people, and I haven't shared this, and I was talking on Instagram of like, I'm really trying to share more about like the experience of operating Create and Cultivate and like what I'm learning so that in hopes I can like teach others, but it's really hard to find
time. But you're learning along the way.
Along the way. Yeah. So it's hard to be like, oh God, like this shit that I have to figure out right, off the cuff. But what a lot of people don't realize is, so before Create and Cultivate, I had a company called Empowered Confidence. And I called myself a CEO while I was operating that business. I want it on the record. I was not a CEO when I was operating Empowered Confidence as a solopreneur. I was a solopreneur, and I had a lifestyle business. Like it truly was a lifestyle business.
I think
and I'll
people
tell you the
think Create and Cultivate is a lifestyle business, though. I think it's a very rude awakening.
Yeah. When they email and they think it's like just like one single person and it's like a little tiny, like it's not that like, it's not a lifestyle business. It is a corporation. And we do have a board and VC. It's just like, it's a lot. So I'll tell you like truly, I think where the jump scare was for me. And I was like, oh my God, like this is so different. With Empowered Confidence, I had how my business model operated was that I had these digital programs and these courses, right? And I was selling these courses to hundreds of women. And I had a few different courses. Brand Business Accelerator was like my early stage entrepreneur. Course. And that was the big one. That was like the hero product that I had. And I was selling it through creating my own content and never did any paid content. It was just like I was doing my own content. Okay. I was creating the courses. I was doing my own content. I was doing my own inbound. Like it was easy in the sense in comparison to Create and Cultivate because it was just me, right? I had an assistant. I'd have a couple interns, but like I never had a big team.
And it was a high 6-figure business.
And it was thriving and I was comfortable. Like it was really, really good. I didn't have to like, even my profit margins were great because I was like, oh, I'm not going to spend this. I don't need to spend that. It was just me.
Yeah.
Like my overhead was not high at all.
And there's a lot of pros to doing that. You're the only one you really have to care about. Like it's up to you.
I can make any call. You do. I can do whatever I wanted. You know what I mean? Like truly, it's a bit different now.
It's very different now. And what I'll say is like, I think the true representation of the 1 year is the following. If you could hold your hands up like this, you could just hold your hands up to the camera. No manicure. This is how I know this bitch be working overtime.
I had no time to get my nails done for her, but no time to even get pressed.
I'm like, I don't have to worry about a thing. Look at those nails. Look at those nails. But this is the thing. I was on a panel. You'll appreciate this. Like kind of the early days of Create and Cultivate. And I remember I came straight from the office, hadn't eaten lunch. I looked ragged as shit. I get on the stage and it was 3 other founders. And I forget what their businesses were, but they were like, really good businesses, whatever. And I they were like, tell us about like what it takes to be a CEO. And I was like, every day, I was like, I'm first one in the office, 5 a.m. I was like, I take every call. I roll probably 30 calls a day. I'm answering every email. I was like, I came straight here. I was like, my nails are bit off down to the bone. I was like, and that's what it takes. And then goes to the next girl and she goes, yeah, mine's not really like that. She's like, I always make time for my manicure. But when I literally sat there, I was like, well, I think I'm in a dark place, everyone.
Yeah, it's just like, it's a lot. And I know, yeah, it is a lot. And it's just like, the Create and Cultivate business is just a beast within itself because it is. And so back to empowered confidence, like I would have, 50 plus students at a time, right? But that was really it, right? I would do these like live launches of my programs. I would sell the program and then we would have masterminds and retreats and but again, it was like 50 people at a time that I was nurturing and then I could take a break, right? Yeah. Like it wasn't this always on mentality. Yeah. And so shifting through that, and when we started the blueprint, it was still like, oh God, this is a lot because now it's like, oh, I'm managing the people, I'm managing the platforms, I'm managing my own business. So it was empowered confidence and the blueprint. And so then rolling into, Create and Cultivate, it's just so different in the sense of one, we have a big team, right? Or growing team, managing that team and every department. So we have a marketing department, an operations department, a sales department, an accounts department, and a finance department. Like we have departments, right? Yeah. And each person rolls up to me right now. Like there is no kind of buffer.
We're creating a staggered. This is like my number one thing with Marina. I'm always like, because this is what happens. And I think this is the classic thing for technically a founder, because essentially you're restarting something or redoing it. It's complicated because there's history of the business and all that. This is what happens. You start to do everything. Yep. Because you know how to do everything, you want to do everything, and you just need to get it done. Then you start to hire people and you try to get them to do it. And then you're like, well, I'll just do it. But I kind of then they start to do it a little bit. And then you're like half doing it. Yeah. But you're still involved. And then everyone needs to talk to you to get something done. It's tale as old as time. And it was something that I did for many, many years until Neha had come in. And she basically was like, you're operating on a single line defense. She's like, so you have no one to, if one thing falls apart, it falls on you. Like if one person leaves, you're doing their job. There's no one else doing their job. And so creating that org chart, which is like an exercise we did pretty early, I was like, create an org chart. And it was something that someone made me do. And I wanted you to do it to learn where you're just like, oh, everyone reports into me. And I was like, exactly, no. So we just hired a few directors, which is going to change your life. I'm very excited for you.
I'm so excited for that. Yeah. So director of marketing, director of sales. We have senior, executives underneath each of them. And it's just been really cool to, or senior managers underneath each of them. It's been cool to learn as I go. And I think that's the biggest thing. And something that I struggle to share is I'm doing every detail because one, I do believe to my core, the best entrepreneurs, the best founders, they know how to do everything.
Agreed.
I want to know how to create the content, post the content. I want to know how to run an event. I want to know how to do budget sheet, every single thing. And you kind of learn as you go. And I think a lot of the times that even for me, I'm shocking myself. It's I've never bought a business before, ever.
Yeah.
I've never raised money before, ever. I didn't even know about raising money until I met you and Allie before, for the blueprint. So these weren't things that I've known for years. And I think that's the biggest thing that I want to infuse in people and remind
but what
people.
An unlock for you.
But that's what imagine if I was oh, I can't do that because I don't know how to do it. No, it's you figure it out along the way. Why would I know how to raise money before I raised money? I don't know. You know what I mean? You don't know until you're doing it. And I think being in the rooms, and I think that's why Blueprint is so successful as a mastermind, because we talk about things that most women aren't in the room to talk about. Totally. And I think that again, if I knew this information before, it would have changed the trajectory. And I mean, thank God I didn't, because maybe I wouldn't be here. But and I'd be somewhere else, like obviously really great, but but I really like where I'm at. But yeah, so
You're like, I'd be somewhere with a fresh Manny.
yeah, fresh Manny. But like so I think it's just a big difference between a lifestyle business where it's like it's you, even if you have like 2 to 3 people, it's still a business that you can kind of turn on and turn off as you would like, right? You decide when you're live launching and you're like, okay, cool. Like I'm doing this program, I'm doing this course, like here's my campaign, here's my go-to-marketing.
Which is a great life.
100%. And it's not something that I would ever, like I look back and I'm like, damn, like I wish I enjoyed that so much more because I thought I was drowning then. And I'm not drowning now, but I'm definitely swimming very fast.
You are doggy paddling the shit out of that water. You're a swan. Beautiful on top. Underneath your legs are going.
No, truly. So I think that's the biggest difference between like the solopreneur lifestyle business and a corporation, right?
Yeah.
We, like I said, like a lot of the times, like I want to just be like, yeah, we'll do this, we'll do that. And of course, like we have that autonomy to do that. It's a different ball game because the risks are higher. We have investors. There's a lot of people.
Scary.
Yeah. It's like,
it's scary on both sides. It's scary when you have investors because you want to make their money back. It's scary when you're bootstrapped because you're like, I got to pay everyone. So it's like, it's scary on both sides.
Totally. And so I think that like those were new things. I think the other new things, like outside of obviously buying the business, raising money, planning 3 to 5 years ahead, doing like due diligences for the business, doing a budget sheet to the point where like I know where every single penny is going for the business, right? Like that forecast every year. That's stuff that I didn't do when I was, a solopreneur, and I think I should have.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? Like,
I think that's like a lot about in WorkParty where I say like take your creativity seriously, take your business seriously, even if it's just you. Like creating those exercises, I think makes such a difference. Like, but you wouldn't know to do them unless, which I think is why the blueprint is so great too, because we do talk about those different exercises and team and scaling. And a lot of what we find with the blueprint girlies is like when they start talking about it, we're like, you need to hire. I think that's always kind of a thing, or like you've hired the wrong people.
Yeah. Or at least you just like need that one person to help you to take a little bit of the stuff off your plate. Because I think too, it's like when you're doing so much of that admin stuff, you kind of lose what your like magic is in the business. You know what I mean?
Perfect. So I was going to segue into saying, I think also a big difference is when you were running Empowered Confidence, like you were doing the work. Like you're building the courses, you're coaching the girls, like you're doing the thing, you're sending the emails like that. You're doing the work. CEO right now, you're doing the work. But long term, the role of the CEO is not necessarily to do the work, but to like oversee the work, right? And that's like the difference of being in the business and on the business or whatever. And I think there's like, and again, that takes a long time to get there. But I think it's like important to know that distinction in your head so that like in 5 years or whatever, you're like, I'm not still checking in on it. Of course, like I think the best CEOs, to your point, know how to do all that stuff, but you have to like learn to pull yourself out because no one's gonna do it for you.
100%.
If you say you're gonna just do something for someone, like you do this all the time, Marina will just be like, I just did it. She didn't do it, so I just did it. And I'm like, this is so dangerous. We have to let them do it. So anyway, it's been really fun to kind of watch the journey. What's been the biggest mistake you've made since becoming CEO?
The biggest mistake? No.
Or learning.
I was like, I haven't made a single mistake.
Not one. It's crazy.
No, I think that I am, how do I say this? I'm very overzealous. Like I remember, so I just am so passionate about Create and Cultivate, okay? And I have big visions for Create and Cultivate. And I remember one time, I don't know what it was, but I think I just assumed something was going to work better than it actually did before we even launched it or anything. I was just like forecasting. And I remember Jaclyn being like, trying to explain to me that I had to be not realistic. I forgot what you were saying. You were like, but I just was so naive in the sense of like how much it was going to take to do something, because I was like, yeah, this is easy. We can just do it, you know?
Yeah.
And like producing a Create and Cultivate event is very, very, very different. And especially, you know, now we're recording it while we're in Austin for Future Summit. It's like every aspect of the event, I would never know that it takes that, like from
it's crazy.
doing the run of show, I'm laughing every time. I'm like, we have security, we have medics, we have catering.
She goes, I don't know if you know this on Sunday. We have catering, we have security, we have a floor plan to scale in CAD, we have an AV. I'm like, yes, it's called an event, Marina. But I mean,
crazy.
You, again, like, I had done production before Create and Cultivate. Had I done production at the scale of Create and Cultivate? No. That was a big learning curve for me. But there's no reason you would know how to do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's, I love that. I think that's true. I think that is right. And I also think two things like that I try to instill in you, but I'm glad that you haven't fully embraced this one is like, I operate in worst case scenario.
The worst.
Always.
The worst.
I think this is what 12 years of just life just fucking grinding you down. But I operate in worst case scenario because I've experienced worst case scenario.
No, truly.
Guess what? Worst case scenario exists. It's called COVID.
No, 100%.
They're like, imagine a thing comes that literally ruins your business. No, but I feel like I think it's a really positive thing that I operate in that capacity. I think it's a positive thing you don't.
Yeah.
Because you need both. Because I'm always ready for something bad to happen because not that like bad things have happened, but like I think sometimes when things happen that are par for the course in business, you're always kind of a little shocked. You're like, I can't believe this is crazy. This is happening. But for me, I'm like, that's just the course of business. But again, that's something you learn over time.
Totally.
And then you start to realize like a lot of being CEO is not putting out fires, but dealing with problems.
Yeah. And future thinking, I think, and future planning.
Future proofing.
Future proofing. Yes. Like really looking through and be like, okay, well, what can go wrong and how can we prepare for it ahead of time has been a big thing. And it's funny, like, you talk a little bit about, you sharing that with me. I am an only child. I rebel when I feel like someone is trying to tell me how to do something. I don't work well with that. And so, a year, I would say like our relationship has changed so drastically. And I don't think and I'm curious, like, were you prepared or what did you think it was going to be like going into it?
All I knew was like, I knew you had grit, determination, and you were very smart. Like, just seeing you run the blueprint, like, you were hungry, you understand marketing, I think, better than, like, a lot of people. Like, your approach is very good. Obviously, you're passionate. You know a lot about, like, the space, which I was, like, the number one thing I care about, how, like, hungry is this girl? And that you were starving.
So thirsty, so hungry.
But I think... Well, two things. One is like, I think at the beginning you were really trying to assert your power.
Yeah.
Which I think makes sense. Like, again, I think we butted heads a little bit around that. But I was like trying to put myself in your position where it's like, you're coming into a 10-plus-year-old business that has a very stellar reputation with a community that's like obsessed with it, but has like a very solidified identity and all those different things. You're going into the business with the founder of that company, who was also the CEO for a long time. And I actually think it was important. Here's what I'll say. I think it was important you asserted your power with the team. I don't think you needed to assert your power with me. I was like, I'm good. You go do this. Like, you really extra assertive with me. And I was like, I get it. Anytime she'd call me, she'd be like, hi, this is Marina Middleton, the CEO of Create Cultivate.
She's like, do you know what it is? And I like that we're like in this place now. I just want to prove myself to people. Like it's just like, and I say this, and this is definitely something I have to work through, but like my worth comes from my work, like
Totally.
work. Yeah. Like my worth is associated so much with the work that I do. And so I always wanted to feel like I thought receiving gifts was my love language. It still is, but it's also words of affirmation. Just being like, hey, you're doing really well, or wow, you're crushing it, or like, and that I needed that acknowledgement from you to be like, hey, like, you don't know what the F you're doing, but you're doing it, girl. And like,
but this was also week 2. This is the best. First week, Marina called me every single day. Guess what? Day 4 of CEO, I'm crushing it. We get to like day 15. She's like, don't call me right now. I'm busy. I'm working. I was like, well, day 15, we've hit our stride. Day 15, she's like, why did I do this? No, but I think like, that totally makes sense. And I think like, I feel like it's been awesome watching you absolutely crush. Like, I think it's, and I think like the dynamic is really amazing now because I think you've done an incredible job and dove head first and with authority and like humility and like all the things. And you're just the hardest working person I know. So I think it's been awesome. But I think you also kind of had a moment where you were like, oh, I don't need to like prove myself to Jaclyn. Like we're on, like I said to you, I was like, you succeed, I succeed. You fail, I fail. Like we're on the same team. And I think but I also think that's hard to find in partnerships. It's like partnerships can be really difficult.
It's also hard coming from being a solopreneur.
Yeah,
like I think
totally.
Just like business partners are hard in general. Relationships are hard in general. And so I think going from like making your own shots all the time to having someone else's opinion, like it's a lot. It's just like, oh, wait, like, so it was more of like me also learning of like, wait, I can receive someone's opinion. It doesn't diminish my feelings or my thoughts or anything like that. It's like, it's actually a good thing. And that's why I say now, like, I would never want to start a business without a business partner and without you, because I'm like, we just like get it. And there's certain things like I'll call Jaclyn and be like, hey, here's how I handled this. Like, curious how like you would have handled it. And sometimes she's like, no, I would have done it exactly the same. Or it's like, well, here's kind of a different perspective. And that has been like gold. Or even like before things happen, being able to like pick your brain and be like, hey, I want to kind of do this, or someone to call and vent. Like you don't have that as a solopreneur.
I know. And I think a lot about my partnership with my partner at Create Cultivate when I started it. Very different, obviously. But like, I think a lot about the reason why I think it was so successful is she was like, you do you. You know what you're doing. Go get it. Call me when you need help. And call me and tell me what you need. And I'd be like, hey, I need like talent for this. Like this happened. What do you think I should do about this? She'd be like, call this person, do this, like whatever. And I was like, and it was less hands-on than we are. But I was like, that's why that relationship was so successful, because I could call her when I needed help. She was like, 10 years plus on me in business and very successful. So it was like, I mean, kind of not dissimilar, but like, I was like, I was so lucky to have that lifeline, because I'm not going to tell anyone I have problems in my business. Who the fuck am I going to call with problems in my business? No one. I don't want anyone to know. So I would like just go to her, and obviously she had skin in the game, so she's like, I want this to be successful. So I think it was, and I think those kind of partnerships are the ones that are the best. Like versus we see a lot of business partner breakups where you're kind of like head to head doing the same things, wanting the same things, and it's just like can be a bump up. But like I told Marina, I'm like, this is your show. Like, you're the CEO, like, and that's amazing, but it's a lot of I know how hard it is. So It's just been awesome. And I hope you feel like I've been supportive.
So good. No, seriously. You're like, this is your moment to tell me. No, but
I would, if you could expand on
that. No, but seriously, it's been really, really cool. Like just being able to do this. And also like, again, I say this, it's like 2 years ago, I was standing in line going into a Future Summit. An event that you've built 10 years ago, right? A brand that you were like, hey, this needs to exist. It's like, and I remember one of our arguments, you're like, you love the brand because of the details that I put in 10 years ago. And I was like, oh no, that's so true. Like, and being able to get on these calls with like sponsors and attendees and all that stuff and being like, oh, I love Create and Cultivate from like 2014, 2016, and I'm like, no, I was in line in 2021. Like it was just a couple years ago that I was introduced to the brand, which is after you sold it.
Which is crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
I will say we do need to flash up the photo from South by, or from the event. Truly, my hair was the worst color it's ever been in its entire life, but I do think we need to show it because it's really funny. Like all these pictures of me and Marina are sparkles. Sparkle CEO.
I'm gonna put it on my
sprinkle.
No, but I am really excited. And for all the women that are coming and listening, it's just like, shoot your shot. Like constantly shoot your shot.
Slide into the
DMs. Take them down. Like, no, I think that's like the big thing. And what I'm working on now, like personally, is just like trying, as someone that has always pushed women to build their personal brands, my personal brand has gone in the back burner because it's just like not a priority for me. Like my priority is
your personal brand is being CEO of Create.
I again have just such a big vision for this freaking company, and like building it with you is like the number one priority outside of being a mom. And it's like, I want to do my job and then like go home and hang out with my kid. Like it's like I have not had time to post or reflect or like journal or do breath work or sound bath, all the things that I was doing.
Breath work is you hyperventilating at the event, okay? That's your breath work.
That's when you're breathing, girl. But so I really am trying to like, even just like in these moments, share real time, like share, bring them, even if it's just stories or in feed, just like share a little bit more of what it looks like, because I do think that there would be a lot of appreciation to the events.
The work that goes into it.
Yeah, the work that goes into it. No one would know. I promise you, you would not know every detail that goes into an event. So I'm so impressed by the team. I'm so impressed by like our community, and I'm just so excited.
Well, congratulations on 1 year.
Thank you. Yay. That's it for this episode. Come back next year.
Tune in next year.
No, tune in to our next episode. We're so grateful for you. Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Work Party. If you like what you heard, follow, leave a review, rate the pod, or slide into our DMs.
Check out the different ways you can create and cultivate on our website, createcultivate.com. From retreats and masterminds to our summits and festival.
We have different experiences to support you through your entrepreneurial journey from launch
to legacy.
Follow us at Create Cultivate on all platforms, and don't forget, work hard.
Party on.
Please note that this episode may contain paid endorsements and advertisements for products and services. Individuals on the show may have a direct or indirect financial interest in products or services referred to in this episode.